Hmm? Ah!
You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode, we will be talking about the supernatural horror film Five Nights at Freddy's, directed by Emma Tammi and released on Peacock October 26th and theatrically on October 27th, last year, 2023.
I'm so excited to talk about this one. We've been kind of putting it off because we wanted to have a special guest on to talk about it because neither one of us play the games. We don't know anything about this.
This was my first foray into anything Five Nights at Freddy's. And so we were looking for some kind of expert, somebody who might know something. And we found a good friend here, Jack. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey, Jack. We're super happy to have you with us because, like we just said, Pake and I don't play the games, although I will say I think I might like to. It seems a little fun. Like it could be fun.
Yeah. So, Jack, what are your favorite things about the games? Try to sell Daphne. She's already wanting to play a little bit. Why does she need to?
My favorite thing about the games are they're supposed to be scary.
Supposed to be. So you're not scared. You're pretty brave playing those. They don't scare you too much at all.
No.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't get scared by games usually. This one looks like it could be a little scary. There are a few moments, especially that cupcake. That little cupcake looked dangerous.
Carl?
Is that his name?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know he even had a name. See, this is why we have you on here with us, because we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely got questions for you about a lot of characters and things, because I know a lot of these are from the games, and even there's books and all kinds of things. There's a whole world that I was not aware of.
Have you read all the books?
No, only like 2 of them, maybe 3. Yeah, I have 3 of them.
Wow. What do you like about the books? Are they like the movie or like the game?
Well, there's only one of them that's based off the first book, from the first movie.
Yeah.
It's Silver Eyes.
That is cool. I heard they're going to make some more movies.
I think they signed a contract for like 3 movies.
Yes.
That would be cool.
The guy, Matthew Lillard, who plays the really bad guy, Steve, or whatever his name was, the bad guy, he's signed a 3-movie deal. So I think he's going to be around to cause some more trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering if we're going to get to see more of this and sequels, and it looks like it is in development right now, at least a second movie that they're looking at releasing in the next year or two, 2025 or 2026 release.
Bad guy's name is William Afton.
Okay.
Yes.
And wasn't Vanessa his daughter? Is that like that in the game or in the book?
It's in the movie, but not the book. Yeah.
So that little bit of information with Vanessa being William Afton's daughter, that's brand new for you watching the movie.
Yeah.
That's cool. What did you think about that as a twist?
Well, I didn't really care.
You didn't? Doesn't change a whole lot for you?
No.
So how is the character of Vanessa different then? If you don't know that about her, then how does she come across in the game? I think she's in a VR game and then in the books. Like, how do you feel about her character in those things?
She's a cop in the movie. She's a security guard in the game. And I don't know if she was in a book. I don't know about that yet.
So she's probably not in the book that you read.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, so of course, as we've mentioned, so Jack is here to answer a lot of questions. I haven't played the games, and I think, as far as I understand, you have played all of them. and then you talked about some of the books you've read, and you're a big fan of it, and you do have a couple of friends with you as well, so maybe they can also help back up some things. So you'll be good to have here for any questions that we have, because there's a lot of interesting stuff that we still don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to start like we always do with a few little behind the scenes things in our production notes section. So this movie was filmed in Tarrytown, LaPlace, Covington, Metairie, and Chalmette, Louisiana, which is, I believe, around New Orleans. It was based on Scott Cawthorn's video game series of the same name. The director, Emma Tammi, wrote the script with Seth Cuddeback and Scott Cawthorn, so he's had a big part of this movie.
It's Scott Cawthon.
Cawthon. Okay. That's good.
No R.
I want him. No R. Okay, that's good. You know, I'm from Maine. We put R's in. We take R's out. Who knows?
I'm in Maine, too.
So as of November 2023, Five Nights at Freddy's became the highest grossing Blumhouse movie of all time. The budget,
that's big, because Blumhouse has done a lot of crazy movies.
Yeah.
But also with big franchises and stuff, including the newer Halloween movies that we covered and talked about.
Yeah. So the budget for this movie was $20 million. But at the box office, it grossed $297.2 million. That's a huge profit. Was 109 minutes long. Pake, give us a synopsis.
All right. Well, a troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and during his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through, and pretty soon he will unveil what actually happened at Freddy's.
Yeah. It's like, so with Michael, or Mike, he just finds out at the end, he finds out what happened.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what's going to happen once he's his brother Garrett, got kidnapped at the start, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he wants to solve the mystery of who took his brother.
Yeah. And it's really interesting here in this movie, of course, that the disappearance of his brother, or who took his brother, just so happens to be connected to the job that he got. And part of it seems kind of on purpose, as we see here in the movie when William Afton, or as he's saying his name is, this career counselor of Steve, he's telling Mike, about the job, and he looks at his last name, and he doesn't say it, but he would recognize that last name, so you think he gave him this job on purpose because he recognized who he was.
He finds out what happened to Garrett at the end, because at the end, William says that he killed his brother, and he'll do it to you next. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a little bit scary. I mean, he's wearing that animatronic golden bunny costume.
Spring Bonnie?
What's it called?
Spring Bonnie.
Spring Bonnie. Okay. So he's wearing that Spring Bonnie costume, and he looks like he's gonna do really bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, because he killed children. A ton of them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary stuff. Yeah. So when you're playing the games, you don't know any of that stuff as well. So is that a big mystery that you have to figure out, or is that a big reveal that when you find out who he is and what he did, is that shocking in the game? Is that a big twist?
Well, it's in the mini games that happens once you finish, and I haven't got to that point yet.
Okay.
I know about it, though, a lot about it.
Good. It's what we're counting on.
Yes.
So yeah, what we like to do when we talk about the movie, of course, is break things down really by character. Of course, there's a lot of stuff going on, so we'll bounce around a little bit. But we'll look at kind of the stories of each character as we go through, or different storylines. But as we talk about that, again, Jack, anything you want to talk about, if you want to correct anything, or you want to add a little bit of something that you know about it, absolutely chime in. We'd love to hear from you. But the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the character of Mike. He is the main character, and from what I understand, even in the games, you are playing as Mike.
Yeah, you are playing as Michael in the games. Like, almost every game. Except
Cool.
for Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night, because they put William Afton to, like, they're through what happened to them, pretty much, like hell, pretty much.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. Maybe I want to play that game. That sounds like fun, because he was
Sounds like
mean.
he gets more payback than he even got at the end of this movie.
So basically, you can choose, like, what animatronic you want to come after you and stuff.
Really?
That's interesting.
If you get if you, like, survive the night, you can get points. Like, if you put a ton of them on and survive, you might get a lot. But if 20 is the max, and they make, like, for the, like, time they wait.
Wow. I can't imagine trying to run away from 20 of them.
And there's that many different characters, so we only saw just a few characters in this movie, huh?
Yeah, there's a ton.
Wow. What are some of your favorites that you didn't see in this movie? Are there certain animatronics or characters that maybe in the sequel, or are there other ones that you think we would like that we haven't seen yet?
It's gonna be like Bonnie, Chica, all them, but withered versions, and the new ones, Boy, Freddy, and all that.
Oh, so it's kind of different versions of the characters we saw?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So they have different variations.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah. All right. So with the movie, again, talking about Mike, here in the movie at least, that's what we know, is that's what we've seen. But we see him trying to take these jobs. He's taking care of his sister. We learn that,
Abby?
He doesn't have, their parents aren't around anymore. So he is, in custody and the caretaker and stuff for his sister Abby. So he's got to take care of her. And he's having trouble keeping these jobs because of just a lot of trauma and a lot of things that he's gone through because of what happened with his brother. And that he's been kind of on the side doing all these things, trying to figure that out. He's learned about this way that he can, like, visit his memories and his dreams. And so he just sleeps all the time, and he's trying to revisit those dreams and get answers and find out what's happening. And because of that, he can't keep a job very well. And then even when he does have a job, he's just so on edge. We see this big mistake that he makes at the mall. Again, to be fair, it looks a little suspect. You see this, he's standing there trying to get ice cream, and he sees this little kid being yanked away by an adult. And so he has these thoughts that something bad could be happening. It just turns out it's the kid's dad. But because of what happened to his brother, you can see why he would be worried. Maybe he should have asked some questions before just beating the guy up in a fountain, but he had the right idea. At least he had good intentions. He just made a mistake and did the wrong thing there.
Yeah, I just beat the dad up, and even though he thought it wasn't, he's just the kidnapper, but it wasn't. It was just the kid's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably because he hasn't been getting enough sleep, so he saw that and it made him scared for the little kid and decided to go rescue him, but it wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so while he's looking for a job, he doesn't want to do an overnight job like working here at Freddy's because he's trying to take care of his sister. But at the time, he's a little desperate because his aunt is trying to get custody of his sister. And he doesn't want that because she just doesn't seem like a very nice person to them. And she's just got a lot of ulterior motives about making, money and more of the taxes and things. And she doesn't really seem to care for them as much. They don't have a great relationship. So out of desperation, he takes this job from Steve, who, again, we think gave him this job with kind of, bad intentions on his side, too.
Yeah.
So that he can have something to be able to support him and his sister.
Yeah.
Right. And before we know what he's really doing before we figure out why he's sleeping so much and trying to revisit his dreams. I couldn't help but think, just every time, I was like, man, it's his first night on the job and he's already just falling asleep at his desk. It's like, maybe he's just really bad at his job. Like, I feel for the guy, but he's really bad at this. That's like the one rule is don't fall asleep, right?
Yeah. So I have a question. Did his brother get kidnapped in Nebraska? Is that why he has the Nebraska poster?
Yeah, that's where they went camping, I guess.
Okay, because I wondered about that, and I didn't understand it. And so thank you for clarifying that, because I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, it seems the process that he has to do, it's whatever is in this book he's reading, that teaches him how to revisit his memories as dreams, is he has to set things most similar to where they were that he's trying to go back to those memories. And so that's why he looks at like the Nebraska poster and has the nature sounds in the music player or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the most like when that happened.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that scared me at the beginning of the movie was when he opened his locker and that toy was there. Does that happen a lot in the game? Like, do you look in places and something jumps out at you?
Well, it's called jump scare, but you don't look in certain places. You look in the camera, and if it like does a static effect, that means they're moving.
Oh, okay.
And then it's when they get to your office, and then you don't close the door or don't like wear a mask in the second game, they'll get to you and like jump scare you, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the toy that Daphne was mentioning there that pops up in the locker, and it pops up in a couple other places. From what I understand, that is the Balloon Boy, which I don't know anything about, but I wonder maybe you could help us a little bit with that. It seems to be something that pops up a lot, right?
Well, he just pops up a lot. Like at the end of the movie, he pops up in at like an extra credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be funny, and it kind of is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he pops up in the taxi cab there, that poor cab driver. Which, from what I understand, I don't have his name, but the actor that plays the cab driver isn't really much of an actor as much as I believe he is a YouTube and Twitch streamer who plays a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's. They actually took a lot of famous streamers, or a couple at least, and put them in the movie. Like the waiter at the diner was Matt Pat, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you, Jack, ever watched any of the videos that the others have done? The ones that had cameos in the movie? Have you ever watched any of their videos?
Yeah.
Do you think that that they do a good job with the game when they're playing?
A lot of them do. Some of them don't.
Some of them don't. Which that can be fun too, to watch people who are bad at the game, because you can kind of laugh at that. So do you have a favorite streamer or anything that you watch regularly that plays Five Nights?
Something went off.
Oh, okay.
I do have a favorite streamer, but I don't really watch Five Nights at Freddy's streams. I watch the videos and some things.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
Who do you like as a streamer?
Like anyone.
So if you don't watch a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's videos, what's your favorite game to watch streams of?
Like maybe any game.
Any game. A lot of let's see, I know a lot of the bigger streams, if it's not Five Nights at Freddy's, Fortnite, obviously, or what's another big game that a lot of people stream? I mean, do people still stream Minecraft?
Not really. It's
not as much.
Barely.
Right. See, I don't know a whole lot of big streamers. I know Markiplier's a big streamer. What is he playing a lot lately?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I heard that Markiplier was also supposed to make a cameo in this movie, and he ended up not being able to because he was working on a different movie or a different thing that was an adaptation of another game.
He was working on his own movie.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen that movie?
No, I don't think it came out yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get Markiplier in the sequel then if he's got time.
Yeah. Because he played a lot of the games on his channel. And so they wanted people that had played a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's and streamed about it to be in the movie.
Yeah, they have a lot of people that are, but not many people are in them.
Yeah, it's a very small cast, kind of.
It's small.
Peg, did you know that the animatronics were done with puppets and it was by, like, Jim Henson's?
They were robots. Like, yeah.
Yeah. They did it. Like the same people who does, the Muppet Show or...
Mm-hmm. Fraggle Rock. Apparently Fraggle Rock has a new show on Apple TV that season 2 is starting soon, and I just found that out today. I didn't even know there was a season 1. I loved Fraggle Rock as a kid. Speaking of just hit Jim Henson stuff.
Fraggle Rock was fun. That theme song gets in your head and it doesn't get out.
It does. Down to Fraggle Rock. But,
there were parts of this movie that reminded me a lot of a few other things, like Puppet Master. This show called Channel Zero had a season called Candle Cove. Some of it reminded me of Saw, and some of it also reminded me of Black Phone. Especially the opening to the whole thing. The whole opening sequence where it's like a digital thing, and and the kids are disappearing. Yeah, reminded me of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So talk about those kids. I remember seeing Mike's dreams and wondering what was up with that. He's visiting different things, but because he's here in this place of Freddy's, that the ghosts of these kids are also in that place with him, and so they kind of are able to inhabit his dreams. So he meets these kids in his dreams, and it took me a little bit to figure out what they were about.
They're not trying to do anything bad. It's William who's controlling them to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he can.
With the pictures on the walls, like inside the pizzeria. Like fake things. He's telling them stories that are fake.
So he's telling them things that aren't true to get them to do things because they've forgotten what he did.
Yeah, because they've been in this for so long.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. And so the little bit maybe that's in those kids that still might remember some things, they're able to kind of reach Mike in his dreams, and he's trying to ask them what's going on, and they just run away because they don't know as that much either.
They seem friendly though. When they meet Abby, they seem really friendly to her.
Yeah, because she's a kid, and but the ones like William Afton does not. Once William Afton starts to control her, the animatronics, they want to start killing their. Yeah.
Oh. Do you think that William knew that Mike had a sister and that's why he found him that job?
Yeah.
No, it's because Garrett is his brother.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows a family name.
Oh.
That was my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. So we've got networking. We got a team here.
This is
that's
good.
I like it.
This is good. We like a roundtable discussion. Yeah. So I think it was probably both things. I think he recognized last name, and maybe he figured out that, or maybe his daughter told him, but I don't know. The whole thing with Vanessa, I got a little bit confused.
Right. I've got some thoughts on Vanessa when we get to her that I was curious about. But yeah, but with Mike, he's learning things as he's sleeping, which, again, I mean, not very good at his job, but as far as figuring out things and working on stuff he needs to, I guess what he's doing is good for him. Terrible for a career, but it's good for him, so we'll take that. But yeah, he's just trying to find things out. What's crazy is how it's connected to where while he's having these dreams and he's chasing these kids, trying to get answers from them. And then if like the kid that's like possessing Foxy slashes him with the blade, and then when he wakes up, he actually has cuts on him. So
yeah, because you can see the shadow of Foxy, and after that happens,
Right when he wakes up.
because when he was asleep, Foxy did that and then ran out because
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. I've only
That's cool.
seen this like twice, so yeah, I didn't notice. I'm going to have to watch it again to see what else I missed.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And eventually he ends up having to bring his sister there, as we talked about, that she kind of gets along with the animatronics. That's because even though he didn't want to take the overnight job, he did because he had to, and then he left her in the care of Max, her babysitter, who, there's a whole other thing with her. Yeah, that there was some...
Yeah. They basically wanted to get him his job, like, they wanted to get him fired.
Yeah.
Because his Aunt Jane wants to take Abby away. And that I thought was mean. She tells him at one point, you'll never see her again. And I thought that was very mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, what about in the games and books and stuff there? Is that kind of story the same? Do you meet Mike's... Does he have a sister? Do you meet her sister? Any more of his family? Is that stuff?
He doesn't have a sister. Well, he does, but in the games he has a sister, but obviously something has to happen. But in the books, Mike is not really in the books.
Okay.
Oh.
The books are just based off their own thing, pretty much.
Oh, so they're separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they tell more of the backstory of maybe the ghosts or William Afton or the animatronics?
Yeah, they tell more of the backstories and what happened to William when it got... But yeah.
That's interesting. That's
Oh, do they go over why Freddy Fazbear's is closed?
No, they don't go over why it's closed. They really don't go over the missing children incident part, but they just go over the other stuff. Just maybe what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
interesting. Probably tell a lot of stories of different security guards that don't have as good of luck as Mike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Max ends up disappearing on her own. Through that plan to lose Mike's job for him, things go a little badly for her and her brother and their friends. So
I was happy when that happened. Yeah. I clapped when that happened. Because they were bad. They were all bad.
Yeah. I did wonder, though, if he's trying to make him lose his job, the brother especially, so you're going to trash the place, but when he's not at work, so it's not actually his responsibility, so...
When he's not at work, to make it look like he did it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they got him fired. They got themselves killed instead.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Max went up there to try to do some dirty work for Aunt Jane and end up having to split, quite literally. Which, when I saw that, I was like, oh no! Who's going to babysit Abby now?
Well, it worked out because, honestly, I think William wanted Abby to come to the restaurant.
Could have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's gone.
Yeah. And so, I know he has no other choice. There's no babysitter, and he's got to make money. He's got to have his job. But I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, let's bring the little girl to the place that was shut down because of a bunch of mysterious child disappearances.
That doesn't make much sense, really.
Doesn't seem like a great idea, but
no.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then even when his sister there, he's still falling asleep on the job. It's like, dude, really? Come on, man.
Well, and Jack, I need you to answer this question. If you were there with someone, would you be able to stay in the room or would you want to go out of the room and run around?
I want to run around.
Exactly. He should have known that she was not going to stay in the room. Mm-hmm. Of course she was going to go play. It's like Chuck E. Cheese. It's like one of those places. Of course you're going to want to run around and see everything.
But in Chuck E. Cheese, kids want to destroy everything.
Oh, is that what it's about? Okay.
I feel like Chuck E. Cheese every kid there just wants to throw something out the window or something.
Oh my goodness.
It's just a madhouse at Chuck E. Cheese. Is that what it's become?
I've been there before. It's really crazy. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's a birthday party. Everyone's just running.
There's,
It's crazy.
I think there was like a playhouse or play place inside of one of them. I think that's why they took it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But yeah, and then as we mentioned, Abby, she must be very brave because those things, even if they're being nice to you, they look terrifying. Those are some scary, big animatronics. And the fact that she's just playing with them and became their new best friend, she's got to be a brave kid for sure.
Yeah. Jack, would you be scared?
Not really.
You don't think you'd be scared of any of them? I don't know. Like
That cupcake, I'm telling you.
some of them seem pretty scary. Like Freddy looks like he could have a friendly face, and maybe like Bonnie, but Foxy's scary, and I don't know. Out of all of them, I agree with Daphne. I think the one that is most unsettling to me is that dang cupcake.
Yep, that cupcake.
Carl.
Because you don't know where it's going to show up next. It's kind of like that balloon boy.
Yeah. By the way, his name is Balloon Boy.
But that is his name, is Balloon Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's nice. So I wonder, is there any backstory? Because, so it's Carl the cupcake, you said, and then Chica always has the cupcake. So are they always connected in their backstories, or is it just kind of how it works out in this movie?
Like, not the cupcake and Chica are connected because the cupcake is the dog of Chica that William kind of.
Interesting. A dog. That kind of makes sense.
That's why it's like it looks like it's the cupcake's trying to bite everything.
Oh,
That makes a lot of sense because I had a note here in my notes for this podcast.
He lured the Chica in or the ghost of Chica in by saying that her dog was in there, and it's just her dead dog in there.
Wow, that's dark. That's really
This
diabolical
William.
of him. Yeah.
Oh, he's evil.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to play a game where I can chase him down. I need that game. I need to play it.
Yeah. But see, this is a great reason we have you and your friends here on, because that's great information. I honestly did not know, because I was like, man, some poor kid ended up possessing the cupcake. He got the short stick in that situation.
Yeah, nope.
But if it's a dog, that's even more interesting.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sad. Oh, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
William needs to go. That's usually what happens, is I get to a point where I just say that anyone that's bad in these movies, I want to see them go. They need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Abby seems to get along with him. And it's weird. Again, Vanessa plays along. They build the fort and she seems all happy. But then afterwards, she tells Mike to never bring Abby back there, that she knows something could happen to her. She doesn't trust who we learn is her dad, that, as you said, has control over these animatronics and these ghosts, that she knows that Abby wouldn't be safe if she kept coming back. And so she threatens Mike and tells him, you don't bring her back here.
Yeah.
And so then Abby stays back with Aunt Jane. There's that backup. Unfortunately, Mike does have to call Aunt Jane into the situation to at least babysit Abby while he works. And I feel like I can relate with Abby. I'll agree with her. You know, it's like, in what world does a good idea start with calling Aunt Jane, right? That
Never.
Doesn't sound like a good idea at all.
Never. It's never a good idea.
Not a good idea.
No. But again, it's that you have to do what you have to do. And the next thing that he has to do is he goes back, and again, he goes to sleep on the job. Only this time, I guess it's a little better because it's during the day. He's not actually like clocked in and supposed to be working. It's not his shift. So I guess he can go there and sleep then. But it's time for him to really try to get some answers during the day. And that's when things get a little haywire. We find out that maybe the ghost kids aren't as friendly as we thought. Again, maybe it's just the control of William Afton, but that they want him to bring Abby back because they want to make her like them and keep her there to play forever. And he doesn't like that, obviously. Like, he says yes at first because I don't know if he doesn't understand what they want exactly, or if he's just trying to appease them for a little bit and tell them so he can then do something different later. But then when he realizes how serious it is, he does tell them no, and obviously they're not happy about that. Luckily, he escaped the old face blades and manages to, run away from them and stuff a little bit, but yeah, it becomes kind of a really scary situation because now the animatronics that seem to be friendly with them and playing with them, and I thought maybe they only hurt bad people, but because they're under this control, now they've turned on him and his sister.
They hurt people that look like William Afton.
Oh.
They're probably not.
Because they think that the night guard or something is William Afton.
Oh, so
like
they
the same shirt as he did or something.
So they get confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've been ingrained with a very understandable and healthy, although maybe put in the wrong place, just distrust and fear of adults, which, you know what, makes sense for them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't blame them. I have a question, Jack. When they were in the storage room and there was this animatronic in there that Vanessa told Mike not to go near because it would have chopped his fingers off. What animatronic is that? Does it have a name?
I haven't seen that one before.
Okay.
It's like a combination of one, I think.
Okay. Because I wondered if it had a name. And it also looked like they wanted to put Abby inside one.
They wanted to put Abby inside that one because...
Yeah.
They didn't want to. It was William Afton.
Yes. He wanted to have another child.
Yeah.
Is basically what he was trying to do.
Right. And so Mike has to fight them off, which he does pretty good with that. He does a good job with learning that electricity, as Vanessa tells him, is going to be the way to handle that. And he's able to dispatch them pretty easily. Unfortunately, William Afton comes and revives them and brings them back. But Mike does a good job fighting off with electricity. So in the games, is that a way that you can also maybe not defeat them or kill them, but at least hold them off or save yourself? Do you fight them with electricity, or are there other ways you fight them in the game?
Well, one of the games you shock them with a controlled shock. Not really. It's just a giant lightning bolt coming out of metal pole or something.
Oh, okay.
So that is something they took from the game there, then, is being able to keep them at bay with the shock. That's good. But that's about all the notes I have really on Mike and his big story and what I wanted to talk about with his part of it. Unless Daphne has any more, or even Jack, if you have anything else that you want to say about him, or let us know.
No, I don't have anything anymore.
Cool.
Okay. I don't have anything because what comes with Mike's story really ends with Abby, and I don't want to talk about that until we talk about Abby.
Okay. Which could be now.
All right.
Because I'm ready to move into that. Like I said, I'm good with Mike. But I don't have a whole lot about Abby, but some of the stuff we see with her. I feel like even though her and her brother's relationship seems a little strained, like she pushes him away and seems to be kind of rude to him, I think at the end of the day, I really think she's just a little upset because she actually wants to spend more time with her brother, and that she's mad at him because he's always working or he's always doing other things. Because as a kid, she may not understand all the time that the things that he's doing are to take care of her and provide for her and things like that. Because even though he's spending so much time to make sure she's taken care of, the one thing he doesn't do because of that is spend more time with her, and that also hurts her feelings. And that is also important to her, that she spends time with him, not just him taking care of her like a dad, but she also wants him to be her brother. What do you think of that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Abby, she's had a very hard time in her life. And she and her brother have been through a lot. And their relationship is strained, but there's still love there. They definitely love each other. And he wants to keep custody of her. But everything that's going on at Freddy's and his lack of sleep is leading him down a path so that he won't have custody of her. And she may end up being taken away from him completely forever because that's what their aunt wants to do.
His aunt wants to take away Abby from Mike because she thinks she really just wants to do it for money. But she thinks that Abby's has mental issues because she's drawing fake fit people and stuff, which is not true.
Yeah, I think Abby's just very special. I think that she has a connection to things that other people don't. That she knows these things about the ghost kids and what happened to them and about William Afton. She's able to put things together and she speaks with them. And so I think that she has some kind of special gift or an ability to talk to these ghosts and get the answers that Mike needs and that she wants from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jane looks at it like she's got mental problems. Like she's not a regular kid. Like she's dealing with things and she draws all the time. And I think, it's for the money. That's all she really cares about. But we get to see Abby throughout this movie connecting with the ghosts. But we also get to see her coming together with her brother. And at the end, she's in a really good place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She has real friends, and they are, she's playing at school, and she's doing very, very well. And she came a long way in a very short period of time.
And I liked the character of Abby being able to help us as the audience figure out a lot of things. Although I felt pretty smart. I guessed a lot of stuff. I was like, what kind of person would give him this terrible job? And then I'm like, I bet it was Steve. I bet he's the owner of this place. I figured it out pretty quickly. And then when Abby said she talked to the ghosts and she mentions a yellow rabbit, and I remembered the beginning of the movie where we saw somebody in a yellow rabbit costume taking the kids in just the opening credits of the movie. And I was like, Steve. I know it's Steve. And then we find out his name's not even Steve. And then I was like, maybe he knows what's going on. Maybe he took Garrett and those kids. And I was like, I cracked it. I'm a genius. I figured it all out.
Yeah, he took Garrett and killed Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
It is. So it's a good thing that Mike was able to get some kind of closure and realize what happened. And even though it doesn't change the tragedy and bad things that happen, he at least knows what happened and he's able to have that, with him to where he can now kind of move on or at least, move forward a little bit. And especially knowing that William Afton maybe got a little bit of justice at the end of this.
Well, at the very end of the movie, William, it's like he's in the animatronic suit and it's kind of locking or cutting into his body. And then the little boy who was kind of inhabiting or taking over the body of Golden Freddy, I think is what he's called. He kind of closes the door and leaves William inside a dark room. Do you think he feels like he got justice? Like he feels like William is getting punished for being mean?
Yeah, he closed the door on William because he was just being,
Okay. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that little boy who played the ghost kid that possessed Freddy, I don't remember his name exactly. I don't have it, but I had recognized him because I'm a big Star Wars fan. And he was in a couple episodes of the Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi show because he played a young Luke Skywalker.
He did! I thought I had seen him. Wow. That's where I had seen him. Because I knew I'd seen him somewhere.
Yeah. There's a few casting things that I recognized through here. I mean, of course, Josh Hutcherson as Mike. Everybody kind of knows who he is. He's become a whole meme on his own right now. So people know who Josh Hutcherson is. But then even through that, Vanessa is played by Elizabeth Lail, who she plays the character of Guinevere Beck in the show You, that's on Netflix, that I don't think Daphne has seen, and I would say I don't recommend you watch it, Jack, until way later on. But she is in that, and so I recognized her from that. And then also just a small role at the beginning in the mall. Mike's security guard friend, the real big guy with like the dreadlock hair or whatever. He was played by a guy named Theo Crane, who was in The Walking Dead. He played a prisoner named Big Tiny.
Yes!
And I've actually met him and hung out with him before, and he's a really cool guy. So
I still remember poor Big Tiny. He didn't survive too long, but man. Wow. I knew he looked familiar, but I didn't look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Aunt Jane was played by Mary Stuart Masterson, who I have seen in a million things from like the late 80s, 90s in that time frame. She was in Some Kind of Wonderful, which was, an iconic movie of the 80s. And Matthew Lillard, I mean...
Yeah.
The thing is, when I was watching this the first time through, I actually made the comment, so we're taking career advice from a guy that's known as serial killer from the movie Hackers. And yet he's playing a serial killer.
See, it's funny, you go to Hackers, because my first initial thought, obviously, is Scream.
Right.
But...
No, I go to Hackers every time. So he's a serial killer being played by a guy who played serial killer in Hackers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Matthew Lillard is he's also Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo live action movies from a while back. And he's also in a TV show called Good Girls that I need to finish because it's really great. But really good cast in this.
Yeah, and it did really well at the box office, so we're going to get that sequel, and I'm interested in where they go from here with it. Because, I thought it was a fun watch. I thought I didn't know enough about it, and now I feel like I know a lot more. And I did a little bit of research. I mean, I found out about Jim Henson and all of that, and one thing that I did come across, though, is that even before the movie came out, Jason Blum said that they'd already made back their money because of the streaming and the distribution rights. So a $20 million budget, they were able to make the money back. So basically anything that came from it being in the theater was going to be a straight profit.
That's good. It's very smart.
Which is kind of cool. So we want to thank Jack for hanging out with us today and talking about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Got some really great insight from you. It was really good. And yeah, any other things you'd want to talk about in the future, we're always here. You know where to find us. But yeah.
You do.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're really appreciative that Jack had some time to chat with us today. We still have a ton of notes, or a bunch of notes to get through. So we're going to keep chatting about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, absolutely. And then maybe if we still come across any more things that maybe confused us or we want to ask Jack about, maybe we'll reach back out to him and let you know near the end or whatever, kind of if he had some other thoughts. But yeah, it was great to have him. And he's a big fan of it. Like I said, he's played through all of the games and he knows a lot of stuff. So it was really fun to bring him on and have fun. A little something different.
Yeah. Well, it was your idea. And that's why we were patient and made sure that we did it in a time frame that would work. And so I'm excited to finish the conversation.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, he stuck around here for almost an hour, which, man, I power to him on that because we're going to keep going for a little bit. But yeah, it was great. So thanks, Jack, again for being here and talking with us. And like I told him, maybe when we do the sequel, maybe he'll come back.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get him to be a special correspondent for this franchise.
Yes. So, yeah, I had just not a whole lot left. We were on Abby, I think, and then we go off on a tangent, which, I mean, yeah, that's what we do.
That's what we do. We're all about tangents here.
So, as far as Abby, the last other little notes I had is when the animatronics turn, while she's there in, like, this final showdown, she has to take to hiding in the ball pit. And I thought that was really fun. I was like, a ball pit horror survival scene. It's very unique and I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's not something that you would expect to see. So it was cool to get to see her in there and just wondering, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because Foxy was closing in.
Yeah.
And I had a hard time trying to figure out, are they good or bad? Like, what is the thing? And I think what Jack said was right. I think they were good, but when William was controlling them, that's when they sliced Mike up. That's when they were trying to turn Abby into one of them because he was controlling them. And they had forgotten what really happened until
they
Abby,
were kind of brainwashed. Yeah, I took my notes just while watching for the first time. So it's one of those situations where my notes are like trying to guess what's happening, and then I'm like, well, I was very wrong, or I was like, nope, I was right, I'm a genius. But so with the guesses on first watch, my guess is there is, you know, the kids, Mike sees the kids in his dream, but then later when Max and her brother and them break in to try to trash the place, Max sees that one boy, one of the I think the one that was not Bonnie, because Bonnie had like the hat, but maybe Chica or something. I don't know. They kind of had different ones taking over. But she sees one of the kids there in the restaurant, and so I was like, well, the kids were taken, so maybe something happened to them, you know, in relation to the place. And then I was like kind of putting together like, oh, it's all the same. This William Afton, this Yellow Rabbit. But I was like, do they just have it out for adults, only for specific reasons? And then that's whenever they start like playing with Abby, and then even the Vanessa and Mike, and they're building the fort, and they're all like getting along. I was like, this is not what I expected.
No.
Because I haven't played the games. I was like, I know you're supposed to survive because the animatronics are evil, but I was like, but here they seem like they switched up and they're very friendly and they only hurt bad people. But then after the kids in his dream kind of want Abby, I was like, never mind. There it is. That there's the other foot.
Because William wants Abby.
Yes.
And so that's what happens. One of the things that really, it just broke my heart is when Vanessa is revealing that no one could find the kids. Mm-hmm. And it's because where they were. Right. Because nobody would think to look inside the animatronics.
Yeah, as we saw that like these like spring locks hold whatever inside. They're supposed to like, there's like they're designed to hold a performer in the suit, but they hold them a lot tighter than they had planned on.
I thought they were holding them pretty tight and almost too tight.
Just a little. It's a little pinch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was another just like very dark and crazy twist that you don't expect to see, and it's really sad. Which even at like the end of the movie, the last thing I had with like Abby is she's like, can I see them again, my friends? It's like, I mean, I feel bad for those ghost kids, but no, you're never seeing them again. That's not worth it. Absolutely not. Like, go make living friends.
Well, yes, she needs to make living friends. However, I think that, I don't know, I kind of want her to be able to go see them because those ghost kids deserve to have friends after everything that they've been through. However, unless the threat of William controlling them is removed, it's always going to be a problem.
Right. And I have a feeling that threat's not quite over. Again, behind the scenes, knowing that Matthew Lillard has a 3-movie deal. Yeah. But then also the ominous, I always come back line, you know.
Yeah. Just makes me think, okay, how many times have you been reincarnated or reborn? Who knows? I guess we'll see. But he was crazy enough to stab his own daughter, so...
Yeah.
I mean...
Obviously not the best guy.
No. No, definitely not.
Yeah. Which, speaking of that, I'm ready to move on, I guess, to notes. I've got some thoughts about Vanessa I mentioned earlier, so if you're ready to do that... really the whole time she was just very sus to me.
Yes.
I was like, man, when she first shows up, it's like she's super into this whole Freddy's thing. She's like offhandedly mentioning the missing kids, but then she just moves on. And it's like she's just sprinkling little bits and pieces of things here and there, and she's always hanging around. I was like, I don't trust her. And my brain was like going on first watch trying to figure out. And I'm like, what is her connection? I was trying to think, it's like, was one of the ghost kids? Because she seems to know. She's like, oh, you found out. I was like, oh yeah. The animatronics are possessed by the ghosts of the kids that William Afton killed and then shoved in the. And she's like, yeah, you didn't know that? Everybody knows that.
It's like it's no big deal.
Right.
Like she's not. She's not shocked by it anymore, which makes me think that it's kind of like those kids who've forgotten. Mm-hmm. Like the ghost kids have forgotten. She has just learned to live with it, and it's another part of life. Like it's not as big a deal.
Right. So I was thinking, was one of the ghost kids like a sibling of hers or something? But then no, as we do find out, she's the daughter of William Afton. Which then, she doesn't want Abby there. She's like, the machines are dangerous. And so I'm like, what's going on? I was like Mike. I'm like very frustrated with her because I was like, just say what's going on. Stop dropping vague hints and then leaving. Like, just answer questions because the vagueness is not helping anybody.
Like, stop telling me in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't go from A to B in a, like, crazy squiggly line.
Yeah.
Go in a straight line. Tell me what it is that you're trying to tell me, because obviously I'm not really getting it.
Mm-hmm. And I think just her, in a way, and maybe, I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, or maybe it's just the writing with the movie trying to, like, connect things. But she just seemed very, suspect, because I was like, yeah, she's the daughter of the man who abducted these kids.
Yeah.
And the truth behind the animatronics is even more horrifying, but it's like, yeah, he has, like, Afton has a hold on them, but maybe, like you said, is there some kind of hold on her?
Yeah.
Because, like, after all these years, why wouldn't she have turned him in, stopped him, like, done literally anything else and more than the poor excuse of helping that she has done so far?
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I was really suspect of her, and then I just... she said, well, I'll do more harm than good, or I won't be able to help you if I come with you. And I'm just thinking, what
she's like,
do
well,
you
if
mean?
he's there, then it doesn't. Yeah. So maybe there's some, like, control that he has. Because I kept questioning, like, why do you let these things happen?
Yeah.
It was like, if you were honest from the beginning with Mike, then we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah.
Don't, burn the place down, turn your dad in. There's a million things you can do that you didn't do that now has led to this. Well, so then, like, part of me, I was like, maybe she's the bad person.
Well, and she's got this picture, the picture of her with her father, and she's holding Garrett's plane. That, again, broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mike is getting faced with all of this. And, I mean, he had a very traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to have trouble sleeping. Of course he's probably going to want to sleep all the time anyway. Like, these are the things, when you deal with trauma, it's what happens. It's not easy. And I feel like Vanessa should have been more upfront.
Yeah. So I was like, Vanessa's the real villain of the movie. And I was like, no, actually, her father is still the real villain. And it's like, and the animatronics, but no, because the kids didn't ask for this. If they've gone pretty bad, that's still on Afton.
Right. He caused all of this. And maybe she was afraid that he does have control over her. Mm-hmm. And she didn't want to be there. But in the end, she did go to help because she pulls Abby out of the ball pit.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a note where I just said, look, Vanessa actually showed up and decided to do something besides be completely useless for once.
Agreed. Yeah, she's not my favorite character.
No. So that's what I've got on her. I feel like kind of run through a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not too fast, but a lot of the meat, a lot of the bulk. So this character of Steve / William Afton / the Yellow Bunny. Matthew Lillard, as we've talked about casting and stuff with him.
Spring Bonnie is what the Yellow Bunny is. Jack told us.
Because I have like a spring, what is it, like Spring Trap, William Afton, stuff like that from what I've looked up.
Yeah.
Sure, there's lots of different names and different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is from like those spring locks. But yeah, he was interesting. Again, as he's reading the name, Michael, and then he stops. It's like there's something he's connecting.
Yep.
I did like the line whenever he's trying to give Mike the job, and Mike says, "How's the pay?" And he goes, "Not great, but the hours are worse."
That's not how you sell a job to anyone.
I love that. And I was like, yeah, it's not sketchy at all. This place has been shut down for years, so you just go sit there all night.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, who's the weirdo sounding owner that needs this place watched? Oh, probably because it's him.
Yep. I think it's great that you figured it out right away.
Yeah, it didn't take too much, but even with that, I still think it was fun when it was revealed in the movie. I was like, aha, I knew it. Because yes, the Yellow Rabbit, William Afton, when he arrives, he can't be taken out as easily as the others. The electric shock didn't work as well.
No.
And that's when he, rise, my children, brings them back up, right?
Wake up, my children. I have someone for you to play with. And I'm just like, oh, man. We're in for it now.
Yeah, doomed there. But then I was like, maybe Vanessa's actually going to do something for the first time in however many years. And I guess she does. She tries. It doesn't end super well for her.
She's a distraction for an amount of time that was necessary. Abby's able to draw the picture.
Yeah. So it works. And again, one of the reasons I kind of called it early that he was going to be the one coming back as this main villain is because of the casting. I was like, you don't have Matthew Lillard cast in this movie and not have him be a much more major role, and especially a creepy role with how well he is at playing that, than just the career counselor. Like, obviously he's going to be doing something else, so it made sense for him to come back as the guy who loves to say two jobs as one. You had one job and then two things. That's two things.
That's two things. Imagine
love that
saying
recurring
that.
joke. Yeah.
Okay, you have one thing to do, and you tell them, and it's multiple things. Well, that's two things. That's three things. Yeah, you just do it.
Yeah, it was a fun running joke that he always had one job that wound up being like two things.
Yeah.
And then, again, it's not really spoke of, it's not really dived into exactly how he does it, but he does have this ability to make the kids forget that he was the one that took them and hurt them. And then, Abby's able to help them remember everything. I was like, oh, you are in trouble now, dude. It's about to go real bad for you.
Real bad.
And it does, those spring locks, which, as we see, kind of like what Jack was saying about, this one of the games where it's kind of the shoes on the other foot, and I think what did Jack say is like the ghost kids kind of put him through his own personal hell, is like what he said, where it's like the things that he did. And you see that here in this movie. It's like the same thing he did to those kids is happening to him, where he's getting spring lock trapped into one of these suits.
Yes. I liked that. That made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I was super happy about that. It's like, okay, you're getting some comeuppance for all your terrible deeds. So I was very happy to see that. I felt like he had that coming for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great to see the kids, be able to witness it or be part of it. That made me happy.
Yeah.
I liked that the way that they see. It's not a theory, but the kids really connected with Abby, but I also feel like they connected with Mike to a lesser extent. Just because so I don't feel like they communicated outright to Mike, but I feel like they communicated with Mike or sent him messages too through Abby, through what she drew. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
When the influence from Afton wasn't over them and they were trying to kill him while he was there, then they were, because of those dreams and reaching out, like they saw him as somebody who was trying to get answers that they didn't have anymore.
Yeah. And so, again, I think as Jack said, when William had control over them, that's when they were following his evil plans.
Mhm.
But then there were those great times that he didn't have control over them, like when they were building the fort and Abby was hanging out with them and having so much fun and connecting with people. And it's interesting that she had these imaginary friends at the beginning, because I wondered if that was some sort of connection too.
Mhm.
Like if she already
I have a feeling these imaginary friends she had were probably like other like ghosts or like
Yeah.
supernatural like entities that she was talking to.
Yeah. I think she sees ghosts, and
Mhm.
you know, we didn't
She's
really get to
Haley
see
Joel
that.
Osmenting the whole thing.
Yep.
She sees dead people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally. Yeah.
As far as other characters, I don't have a lot. I've got notes about like the ghost kids, animatronics, but other people, living human characters, not a lot other than just, again, with Aunt Jane and then Max and her brother and stuff, as we see that Aunt Jane and her scared turtle, lawyer.
Oh my God, the lawyer killed me. Doug, he was great. The look on his face when they're sitting there with the therapist.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he just looked terrified or strung out, basically. That was great.
But yeah, they hire Max to babysit in order to get dirt on Mike. And I was like, man, that is low. But because he's a good guy, they have nothing. So then Max and their dirtbag brother decide they're going to try to make him lose his job by breaking into Freddy's and messing up the place on his watch, even though it was after his shift. And I still don't know how that works. But I was like, they're not very smart, are they? Because he's not there and he can't be responsible. Of course, Vanessa later brings up criminal negligence because he's taking sleeping pills that would make him forget to lock up. I'm glad that they included that line, because then it was like, well, that's how you can kind of retcon like how it could fall on him.
Mm-hmm.
Although Jeff, the brother himself, wouldn't have known about that, so he's still an idiot. But, you know, at least they make it work story-wise. It's like, that's how it could fall on Mike's shoulders, is because he's on these sleeping pills, he forgot to lock up, and then that's how those people came in. So,
well, and he left the sleeping pills there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why you would do that. But, okay.
Don't have time to be carrying them back and forth.
Oh
and
my
then
goodness,
talking
they're
and
so heavy.
just leave them where I know they're going to be when I need them.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, Max's little band of thieves going there and doing that I found kind of strange. And I was wondering, why would Max continue to babysit indefinitely without getting paid? And probably Jane's paying her, so.
Yeah,
she doesn't have to worry about money. Because at first I thought, oh, maybe she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart, until this all came about and we realized what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much pressure on Mike to provide for his sister that, you know, he's got a late payment notice on the door and he's in dire straits as far as what he's going to do, and he has to take that job. And I think, honestly, Steve/William knew he was going to have to take that job because he didn't have a choice.
So the last section I have is just the animatronics and some stuff. Talk about some of their scenes and things, which this is the one section that I am a little bummed that Jack had to leave us, because I've got a lot of little puns and jokes in here that, dad jokes that would have been great to throw in here with that, because whether, with an 11 or 12-year-old in here, whether he laughed or rolled his eyes, I still would have won. So,
and you know that with me, you don't get to win.
No, because when the reaction comes from an actual child, that's where it comes in. So maybe, Jack, if you're listening to this, you can let me know if these are great jokes or if they're terrible, because either way, that's what I want. But we'll get to those.
We'll see how this goes, Pake. You know what? You can try. You can try. I'm not gonna guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not all just that. I do want to actually talk about them too. I have legit notes. But, early on we learn about that there's these animatronics that can move around freely, which in reality I was like, that sounds really cool. Could definitely have some problems besides murdery problems. Like there are other issues that you could have, but like the idea of animatronics that can just walk around freely around the place is like, that could be cool.
Yeah. I mean, AI robots. I mean, what's the problem with that? Oh, wait.
Right. Nothing could go wrong with that at all. Yeah, the animatronics are creepy. But again, I was like, why is it the cupcake that makes me the most uncomfortable? Maybe.
I have a love-hate relationship with that cupcake.
You know me, I love the creepy stuff a lot. So once we start seeing that, like the lightning flash and Foxy's in the hallway, like I love that kind of stuff. And it's
the
like
shadows, anything with
the shadows and background
like
reveals. Yeah, that's always the best stuff. You know, those little glimpses of monsters in the background. So like when the group is in there trying to like trash the place, and you see Chica walk by between the fan blades, and you're just like, I do this little like excitement giggle when I watch stuff like that. I was like, ooh, this is gonna be good.
You know, honestly, I kept thinking about Puppet Master. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen any of those?
I have not.
Okay, then I know a movie where
maybe I've seen some of like the original, but it's been a long time.
You know what? I think next season we're gonna dive into it. We have to dig into Puppet Master, because you have to, Then you'll understand why I have this love-hate relationship with Cupcake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then Chica sends Cupcake through the air vents, and death by Cupcake. That guy got iced.
You get a very small laugh, Pake.
I gotta get one. Again, I don't get any reaction from Jack. Unfortunately, had to leave here, but I'll take a little laugh from you. That one feels good. Cause you guys broke into their place and they aren't happy about it. They'll leave you all running, screaming, and quaking with fear. Fazbear will Faz scare.
Oh boy.
And then that's again when I mentioned Max sees one of the kids. So I was like, what is up with these kids? At that point, we learn. And then let's see. I've talked about a lot of these other things. Throw them in earlier. An unexpected twist is I didn't think that the animatronics could leave the pizzeria, but nope. Apparently, Freddy can order an Uber and take a trip to the house. And
Golden Freddy can do anything he wants. He just can.
Yeah. But then the Mike and Abby and Vanessa are able to escape once Abby lets the animatronics realize the truth about what happened to them, and they turn on William Afton. And I said, what a killer animatronic band. They really brought the house down with that final performance, didn't they?
Oh, you're really going all out, aren't you? Oh, boy.
See, I got laughter from you, so I'll take it.
You don't get laughter. Well, no, you kind of do. A lot of the time.
But so that's really all that I had. We had a couple other little questions for Jack that we didn't get to, but actually most of them I did. So
yeah, I feel like we asked them organically. I have a couple of things about the games that I wanted to share. The inspiration for Five Nights at Freddy's came from criticism of Scott Cawthon's prior game, Chipper and Sons Lumber Company, where players found the main character resembling a frightening animatronic animal. Initially disheartened and known for Christian-oriented games, he transformed all of this feedback into intentional horror, creating Five Nights at Freddy's. That's, I found really fascinating, that he did these happy games and he just said, no, I'm just going to do something that's terrifying. If they're not going to play my nice little sweet game, I'm going to terrify the pants off them.
And it's become a, global phenomenon. So, yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, if you think about how popular the game is and, how far it's come, and it's still, I didn't know anything about this. I have gone to the collectible shop that I go to sometimes to get pop figures and other things. I've gone there and seen, the action figures and things. I'm like, what the heck is this? What is Five Nights at Freddy's? I have no idea. But now I feel like I know a lot more about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of cool. I like that they didn't use CGI. That they, Jim Henson's Creature Shop is what they used, to create the animatronics. And, I just think it was really clever what they did. To to pull this along. And the opening was one of the creepiest things. I mean, oh man. I also don't think I'm ever going to listen to Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics again without thinking about animatronic animals singing.
Right.
Yeah. It did remind me of Chuck E. Cheese a bit. Have you ever been to Chuck E. Cheese?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Not in a very long time.
Yeah, me either.
But I have spent time, like, when... I have a young niece now, but I don't think... We haven't ever done that. But no, when I was growing up, so it's been a long time, but, like, when my younger brothers were still young, and then, like, having, like, young cousins and family members... So, I mean, I probably haven't been since I was, like, early teenage years, if, you know, like, but we have one here in town, so I have been.
I think it's creepy. I think it's creepy now. It's, you know, kind of ruined Chuck E. Cheese for me now. Not that I go there, because I don't think we even have one in Maine anymore. But, yeah. I think we've done it.
All right. We've survived all. We don't have 5 nights of this we had to do. We just had
one,
an hour and a half or so.
Yep.
But, you know, we made it through that.
Made it
so
through.
I think that's good enough. So
definitely.
There goes the feedback phone, so we can see what some other people had to say about this one. All right, we've got a little bit of feedback this week, but before we get into feedback over this movie, we do have one more little feedback about our chat episode that we released last week. From Catherine, of course. Always love that she's going to come through and give us some thoughts. So about that one, she says, I would love to have an episode or 2 like this every season, or perhaps an Adventures with Riley segment. I was a Special Olympics coach during most of high school and college before working as a habilitation tech with nonverbal teenage boys on the autism spectrum. It was incredibly rewarding, but so mentally and physically demanding. I admire Pake so much for being a part of Riley's life for over a decade. And Daphne's pictures are just stunning. I loved so many of the facial expressions captured in the motion shots.
Oh, Catherine, thank you so much. Maybe just for you, we'll do an episode a season.
Yeah. Thanks for the kind words. The part of, like, mentally, absolutely. Work can wear me out mentally sometimes, but God, if it's just not like the best thing ever. So I totally get that. I love it. And then, Daphne's killing it. Photog queen. Thanks. So I think you enjoyed it, and then we've heard from some other people who also had a good time with that episode. So we might start making that a thing here and there, because it was fun.
Yeah, it was great. I loved being able to show a little bit of the conversation that we have every week when we're talking on here. So it's great. So getting into the 5 Nights at Freddy's feedback, we have Megan who says, I watched this movie, disturbing concept, but how did he do it? Are they ghosts? I was a little confused. I think they're ghosts.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's where it's like ghosts possessing the animatronics. But as far as like how he does it and like what the connection is, they didn't really go into that.
No.
And maybe Jack would know more. Maybe the games explain some of that, but that is something that's information and knowledge that me and Daphne are both lacking in, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah. I know that there are a couple other movies in the works, so maybe we'll get more of a backstory or more information in those.
Mm-hmm. And then one more about 5 Nights at Freddy's, coming again from Catherine. I just get to read Catherine feedback this week.
You do.
So that's pretty great. I'm good with that. So for 5 Nights at Freddy's, she says, this was my second time watching 5 Nights at Freddy's, and it was just as much fun as the first, maybe a bit more as I missed details like Matthew Lillard as the temp agent and his hesitation on Mike's last name. The game series has been on my want-to-play list for a while, and I bet the movie is even better after knowing more of the lore.
I think we agree with that. We got a bit of the lore when we had Jack on the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed that, because it was a little different
really cool
concept for us, but we had a lot of fun with it. I want to play it too, because it just seems like there's a lot to know, and we've only scratched like the surface of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to play the one where you're going after the bad guy and giving him a taste of his own medicine. I'm down for that.
Sounds fun. And I was looking at it. I think like the first 2 games are like $8 or $9 on the PlayStation Store right now. So maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe we can play it, Pake, and then we can report back if we learn something new. Well, if you'd like to submit your feedback like Megan or Catherine, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Run for Your Lives Podcast. You can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. If you are enjoying the show, tell your friends. We are available on all podcast players, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links that you'll ever need. And give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that is the best way to share the love. Get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do absolutely appreciate that. And, of course, always send in more feedback. If you got more thoughts, we'd love to hear from you all the time. But speaking of sharing the love, got to give those shout-outs to things going on in the podcast universe around us. So you're right here on Podcastica, lots of great stuff. Of course, over on The Cast of Us, as they were covering The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, that entire run, which was great. And now they've got a lot of feedback for that series finale. And so the part 1 of listener feedback for The Last Time is out this week. You can check that out with Jason and Lucy, having Randy and Jenny from Welcome to the Apocalypse joining them for that feedback. So that should be a lot of fun.
That should be a lot of fun for sure.
Yes. And then over on Revisited, Kristen and Ben still tearing through Ted Lasso, Season 3, Episode 3, 451. That's not Episode 3451. Episode 3 of Season 3, titled 451. So many numbers, it's very confusing.
Yes, definitely.
And then Extraordinary Cast is back, covering Season 2 of Extraordinary, that is over on Hulu and Disney Plus, with Season 2, Episode 2, Hello Stranger, this week. You can go check that out. Then over on the Still Slaying podcast, Kara and Penny talking about Season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Episode 15, Consequences. And they have special guest Kirk over there on that one for you to check out. Kirk is always a lot of fun to talk about, to listen to him talk about stuff, and it's very knowledgeable about a lot of great nerdy stuff.
Yeah, he's got some cool perspectives.
Yes. And then let's see a segue between, because it's a connected Podcastica and Next Level with Wilhelm, Ben and Jason, and maybe somebody else. Again, we'll know for sure next week. I can really give you the download, but I know they're recording this weekend, so it still hasn't been recorded. If you're listening to this as it's released right here on release day, they should be recording tomorrow. So then look forward to it early next week. The Wilhelm and Podcastica joint coverage of the Amazon Prime series Fallout, the entire first season. They're just covering all 8 episodes in one podcast episode to talk about it. As of recording this right now, as I'm speaking, I have seen 7 of the 8 episodes, so I haven't watched the finale yet, but I will soon, maybe tonight. Because it's been so good. I literally went in with no expectations whatsoever, because video game adaptations can be very hit or miss lately, so I was like, we'll see what happens. And I was not prepared for how incredibly good it is as a series, and Season 2 has officially been greenlit and confirmed, and we'll get that hopefully before too long.
I know. I have not started it, but I've heard that it's bingeable.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, they're full hour episodes, but
yeah,
8 episodes, and it keeps you hooked. Absolutely.
Excellent. Then I will have to dive into it.
Yes. And then a little bit on the outside of Podcastica. Of course, we always want you to go check out our good friends at TV Podcast Industries to see what they're doing as they are continuing wrapping up the coverage of Shogun, as that season has come to an end. I don't know if there's more coming. I don't know if anything's been confirmed, but it's been incredible, and just definitely go check out their coverage because it's been a great show. And then over on Adrenaline Cinema, Mark back over there on that podcast, bringing in his friend Frank to talk about Escape from L.A.
I haven't seen that one in a long time. All I can say is I don't think it lived up to the excitement that was in the first one. But I could be wrong. I could be, I could be wrong. At least in my opinion, I guess that's how it is.
Right. But yeah, Mark has a lot of great opinions about all of those kind of different movies. So definitely check out that coverage over there to see what he has to say.
Absolutely.
But then aside from all of that going on, you can always come right back here next week as we're wrapping up our season. We've only got like 4 episodes left of this season. So we've got some fun little movies to throw in to wrap it up. So especially what we got going on next week, Daphne, which is what?
Well, a young woman navigates a chilling game of survival against a group of sadistic predators, turning the tables in a relentless battle for justice where the hunted becomes the hunter. We are covering Tyler Shields' 2015 film, Final Girl. And I can assure you, that wonderful preview that I just gave you is probably getting you excited. You'll just have to see what we think of it next week.
Yeah. This is one I had never heard of before, so jumped into this one, and it's an interesting conversation. It's a fun one for sure.
Yeah. Well, with that, we've reached the end of our episode. Special thanks to Jack for joining us to break down Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.